Wonder Women in Fintech, the importance of women in tech and innovation. I am Shanmati Karthik, the panel moderator for the session, and I would like to invite a beautiful ladies for today, Ms. Myrna Slayman, founder and CEO of Fintech Galaxy, Dr. Jane Thompson, Chair, Kesai Holdings London, Senior Business Analyst, and Ms. Surbi Lohia, Senior Business Analyst, Stock Edge, and Amira Soliman, Chief Revenue Officer, JinglePay. Wonderful. So Amira is about to join. Hi, ladies. I hope you're all doing good. Mena and Surbi, how are you?
Hi, how are you? All good?
Wonderful, wonderful. I'm doing great. So we will start off the session with a small introduction. Maybe we'll keep it short, the introduction. We'll start with Surbi.
Okay.
I hope I'm pronouncing it right.
Yes, it's Surbi, correct.
Okay, wonderful. Go ahead, Surbi.
So, hello everyone. So I'm Surbi Loya and I am currently working as a senior business analyst with Stock Edge. It's one of the leading fintech startups in India where we provide equity data to our users. So the clients are the retail users of the platform, and we provide analytics which help them in understanding the market better and take their own trading and financial decisions independently. So that is the main mantra of training the users and providing them analytics on their own. Yeah, so that's about it.
Wonderful. Thank you, Surbi. Can we move on to Myrna now? Can we have a small introduction about yourself, Myrna?
So hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm super excited to be here with you today to talk about Wonder Woman in FinTech. I'm the founder and CEO of Fintech Galaxy. It's a startup in open innovation focused on financial services. So we run an open finance platform that enables integration between financial institutions and FinTech startups across the region in various use cases like payments and account aggregation. We also support the development of the FinTech ecosystem across the whole MENA region, and we work on boosting financial inclusion.
Wonderful. So I'll make the questions open to both of you. So I'm very curious on a few facts about FinTech. Let me generalize it. As a result of COVID, it's been well reported. A lot of schools has been closed, and parents found themselves working from the dining room table, and women happened to balance between work and life. So, but how are things in FinTech? Is it like who take care of their shoulders, children's responsibilities and their jobs with mental health? Is FinTech the industry for women? So I'm opening the question to both of you. So whoever wants to start first.
Okay, so yeah, I would say that definitely with the lockdown and the COVID around, so it was me being at a senior role, it was definitely a difficult ball game altogether, but definitely being in the fintech industry, which I feel is one of the most fastest growing industry, in fact, and post COVID also, I would say that the numbers has just shortened up. So I really feel very proud to be associated with this industry. And I think that it's just going to be one of the lead runner among all the industries.
Wonderful. Would you like to add, Myrna?
Oh, well, in principle, FinTech brings together, two of the least gender diverse industries, right? Financial services and technology. So COVID or no, whoever has been into the technology space or the financial services space has seen less women than men, historically speaking. So, FinTech, when it was founded, it was actually founded by men, for men, making products for men. I'm an ex-financial journalist, and I've seen more men than women in this particular industry. Now, the problem is twofold. First, you have very few women working in fintech in general. And then you have even fewer women leading fintech startups and fintech companies, be it as founders, CEOs, or even board members. So we'll talk about this in a bit, but just to answer your question, it's pretty stressing when you are a woman running a company and having your kids running around you, and even your husband running around you. But still, I mean, this COVID thing and the switch to digital has actually helped women manage work-life balance. Because now you're sitting with the kids, you're teaching them, you're taking breaks, you don't feel the guilt of leaving them. As a company, Fintech Galaxy was born in the digital space. We never had an office, right? So for us, it was like there was no change whatsoever. We would work from home and we would actually do whatever we need to do for work and for the family.
Wonderful, Mirna. That was really awesome. So, my next question I would like to pose for the ladies here is, like, as you just mentioned, there are fewer ladies and fewer women and even fewer women leading the fintech industry. So while 35% of higher education graduates, like the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, which we call STEM programs, right, globally, many of them, according to the Catalyst, end up leaving STEM careers. The fast-growing fintech industry doesn't appear to fare better in terms of women's leadership. Why? Why is that case? So I'm going back to the same point where Mirna stressed over, and let's dig deep, dive deep. Let us understand, why is it happening? What is the real case scenario?
Well, see, this has been the case over the past many decades. A lot of support has been given to women to encourage them to go into the STEM industries, not only in terms of education, but also in terms of getting them into management position, into board positions, into investments. It's not a cultural thing. I don't think the region in the Middle East or even Asia is any different from the West. I mean, this is a global problem that everybody is dealing with. And I mean, I'm not one of those feminists who would go and ask for any kind of equality, or I actually call for empowerment, regardless if it's a woman or a male or a female. For me, I don't see the difference, honestly, and I don't even raise my kids realizing that there is a difference. I do operate as an entrepreneur. I think like an entrepreneur. When I studied my executive MBA, I did it as a human who is ambitious and wants to actually study and grow in the company. I want to learn stuff. When I went to do my fundraising, I didn't even think for a second that, oh my God, I'm a woman, they're not gonna give me the money. Like, it didn't even occur to me to think that way. What I thought of is I'm a female who's actually inspiring other women, giving them maybe a good example of how to have a family, kids, and also be ambitious and run your own company. And at the same time, it actually makes you stand on your own grounds. So if you have a great idea, if you are driven by passion and ambition that a startup founder would need, you will actually raise the funds. It doesn't, we don't need to go and run, a whining party just to say that, oh, I'm not raising. So the point of confidence that women face is a global problem. And it has nothing to do with fintech or non-fintech. This is something that all women in leadership and women across sectors face. It becomes even worse when it's very, very much related to math and science and engineering and financial services. But I wouldn't have a blanket approach to this.
Wonderful. Would you like to add, Sophie?
So yes, as she correctly said, that it is not about any particular fintech or anything. So mostly male do dominate this entire industry, and as an organization, it depends on how they cater to the needs of the women, and it is only then that I believe that the bridge, the gap can be filled. So, for example, I can very proudly say that I belong to an Indian fintech company where around we are a strength of 235 people, and 85 of them are women, so which is almost 35%, so which is like a very very good number. And in fact, if I would say that there are around 10 departments, out of which 5 are led by women. So definitely the organizations are working towards trying to have women. And because what I have seen and what I believe, that women do bring with them a lot of diversity and the confidence, and they do drive innovation and increase productivity of the organization. So yes, women do play a very key role.
Wonderful. Talking about it, yes, I can understand that women in fintech sector, like I can quote an example, Annie Bowden, CEO of Starling Bank. It's a fantastic woman. She has been leading the bank and she's in the driving seat at many well-known banks and fintechs. So I'm sure all of these women would find it hard to disagree that I mean, you cannot lead in terms of innovation and tech. I mean, everyone is responsible for leading and taking the roles there. And it is always, if you can't get a seat at the table, build your own table, right? So, I mean, I would also like to add what Mira just spoke about it. What do you think, I mean, for the next generation or the upcoming leaders, women leaders, what do you think is the most significant barrier you have faced as female entrepreneurs? Because I have, when I did a small research and I understood that 1 in 6 women believe they lack the necessary skills and knowledge. If this is the case, what is a piece of advice to be heard for the women who is upcoming inside the leadership roles? If yes, if no, then how to overpower this factor? So I open this question. So I mean, so we can start, or Myrna? Yeah.
Yeah, so as it is, very rightly said that, an investment in knowledge, it pays the best interest. Okay, see, women do have to also, they if they feel that, we lack the skill set. So definitely now the avenues of increasing our skill set or knowledge is with everything getting digitalized. It's all the more easier to nurture our skill set and to keep us up to the mark. So even, there are situations where females do have to take a break because of probably a family planning or anything, and then after a time we feel that probably we are a little back in the society in terms of the knowledge and all, and there's a gap. So now with the digital arena where everything is online, we can always keep ourselves updated. And with that, I think women can be a little more stronger.
Wonderful. Myrna, do you have any point to add?
See, in general, we are starting to see greater awareness about diversity in the workforce, and especially in the fintech industry. And there has been a lot of moves, and just to balance, this gender gap. But let's face it, it's still an old boys club. As I said, it's financial services and technology. What we need to do is to focus on what matters. The problem with a lot of, I actually stopped participating in panels when we talk about women in fintech or women in technology or women in this and women in that. I don't see any difference, honestly. Like, that's to start with. And if we believe that there's no difference in whatever it takes to, number one, run a company, set up a company, take this company to the next level, raise funds, hire the right team, If we start believing in that and we cascade this belief down to our kids and the next generation, then you will have, you know, my daughter now, when she applies to university, they ask her, what do you want to do? She said, I want to set up my own company. Why? Because she learned it from her mother, you know? So we need to start breaking that vicious cycle of, oh, you're a woman, go get married, and oh, you're a man, become successful. That's the beginning. And what we should have as startups, I mean, let's talk about Fintech Galaxy. We have this drive to make an impact, you know, to build societies and create diversity across all levels, not only gender diversity, but also nationality. Like teams have to be Arabs, non-Arabs, you know, like Asian, African, Middle Eastern. The more diverse you are, the better quality work you provide and the better culture you have. You will be more empathetic, you'll be more compassionate. It's not only, I mean, bring a company that's all women. That's even worse than having all men. So we need to start not thinking about, oh, I'm a female. And by the way, I'll tell you something, and I do hope that a lot of women are actually attending the session and listening to what I'm saying. We are special, you know, we are actually special. Like, if we understand the power that we hold and we use it in the right way, our, you know, our multitasking, our emotional intelligence, our empathy, our compassion, the way we actually rely on other people to do the jobs. I mean, I'm not a technology person, and honestly, half of the chats that my team have, I don't understand. Right? That when they start talking APIs and integrations and back end and all of that, I'm like, okay, I hired you to do a better job than me, to know more than me. I want you a better version of whatever CDO I can have. So I have my own qualities as a CEO. I'm here to run the business and to turn this vision into a reality. I don't need to be a product designer. I don't need to be a financial analyst. I can bring people who actually do it. This is how men think. You know, men think like that. I don't know this. I don't hide behind it. I say it out loud. And I hire the people who can actually do a better job than me. So if we start breaking that cycle and just believe in what we can do and what we can, you know, impact and how we can impact and make a difference, we'll go places. It doesn't really matter if we are females or males. At the end of the day, it's all about humanity. So promoting change, diversity, a better balance in the workforce, is a broad theme. Fintech, no fintech, is just life, right?
Wonderful, wonderful. I just love the way you put it. Like, it's just the mindset. There's no gender gap in terms of mindset, be it a man or woman. When you put your passion and you just deep dive into it, you get it, man. So what's the big deal? I love it, man. That was wonderful. So yeah, and is there a myth, or I don't know, it's a truth in fintech industry? This is, as you also rightly mentioned, some things happened. So the stubborn gender gap in fintech leadership stems from more than the lack of diversity in financial services and the scarcity of women across the wider tech sector. Is that a myth or a truth? I mean, I'm just curious about it, and I'm sure a lot of audience are sure about it.
See, it's scary. I mean, fintech is scary. Seriously, I mean, financial services is scary on its own. Mm-hmm. Technology is scary on its own. Bring financial services and technology together, that's like a nightmare. I mean, but the important thing is it's scary and it's changing and it's getting disrupted and it's transforming to everybody, males and females, not only for us, right? So if we feel, and oh my God, like what's going on with the banking sector, digital banks, all the brick and mortar models are changing, business models are changing, emerging technologies are even, you know, disrupting the way we do banking. It's not disrupting the way women do banking or females do business. It's just the whole world is changing. So if we start realizing that our problem is actually a human problem, it's a world problem, it's a global problem, and everybody needs to figure it out. And by the way, most bank CEOs who are men don't even know how to get out of this problem. And it's not like, we are females, so we've got a smaller brain and very, little ego, and we don't know how to deal with the problem. If we don't know how to deal with the problem, it's because it's a very big challenge, and the challenge is an opportunity. So it's a global opportunity for the whole world to change into the future and to leapfrog where we are today. And we need to all agree on a way to redesign financial services for the future generation, regardless if we are males or females. That's my understanding, and that's my belief. Truly, it doesn't matter. And as I said, remember, the virtual world, the working from home, the future of work is now making it much easier for women. I do have one of my leaders in the company. She actually got pregnant. She delivered a baby. She got out of her maternity, and nobody even realized that she had all of that. She was all around. And even until today, I don't even ask her, like, where are you? Are you in the office? I don't care. She goes on Zoom calls and she has her baby crying, and she's like, excuse me, guys, I need, give me 1 minute. She goes, handles the baby, comes back. It's okay.
It's okay. Yes, yes, exactly. It's a reality. So yes, wonderful, wonderful. Would you like to add, Survey, on this?
Yeah, I think she's covered it all, and it's absolutely in our mind, male or female. I don't think actually also there is any difference. So if we ourselves feel that we are confident, and we feel we are empowered, we can, do wonders, and there would be no actually difference between a male or a female in this society.
Wonderful. So thinking about it, so I understand from your point of view that it's no male or no female perspective. It's just about us and what the perspective or introspection of us to take it forward. So I would like to put forth this perspective. Okay, there are a lot of women who are out there in the fintech industry, trying to cross the benchmark to become a leader inside the industry. So since you are here, I would like you, the beautiful ladies here, to share something which would help them empower themselves, despite the struggles they might face. Or you can also share your experiences where you have faced few struggles and how did you overcome it? Because this might be a case study for them. This might be a small spark which might give that benchmark to these ladies out there to get inside to the leadership. So yes, I'm opening the question to both of you.
Yeah, so like I would tell that I am also a new mom, and I also had delivered just before the lockdown. Okay, so when my office provided me a maternity of only 3 months. So a lot of people would come and tell me that why don't you ask your company to give you a maternity leave of 6 months, which is globally everywhere. But I felt that I don't think if I can very well balance it, I don't think it is required. So just thinking that as a woman I am weak and I need extra facilities, and I would always play a blame game about the organization being partial towards men or women. So I never asked my manager to treat me differently from a male employee. So currently I would tell you that I am in a resort where we all managers have come for a meeting, and we are 14, out of which 12 are males and 2 of us are women, and I am the only one who's having a child. So the moment I told at my house that I would be going for a workshop which will be like a 3-night stay, so my family was the first one to tell me that how can you leave your child and go for such a thing. So but it is on us to try to convince them that there is no difference. If a male can leave a child and go, even a female can. I don't need any extra facility. I don't need to tell my manager that I'm a mom and I can't go. So we have to try to strike that balance. And I think if we do that, there would be no discrimination, be it a male or a female, and we can equally, climb the ladder as a male does.
Wonderful. So yes, Myrna.
If you look at the funds raised over the past 2 years, the percentage of funds, let's say VC money allocated to women was not more than 2.5% globally.
Mhm.
And I mean, that's a number that we need to stop and really wonder, why is this happening? And even when you look at the percentage of women on board seats, it's not more than 20-30% of all, you know, technology firms globally. There's other than the, you know, the issues that we discussed on the panel today, there are certain key initiatives that a female entrepreneur can take. And by the way, these apply to male entrepreneurs as well. So it's nothing special for women. Like the first thing that I did when I set up my company is I set up an advisory board. Okay. The importance of advisory boards is you get access to amazing talent and executives who have been there, done that, okay, without costing you a lot of money. You might give them some ESOP shares, or they might do it out of, you know, doing good for the community, or maybe you're friends with them. I remember my first advisory board had a CTO from IBM. It had a chief legal officer from one of the largest banks in the UAE. It had a chief digital officer from one of the largest banks in the UAE. It had a head of startup community from one of the largest startup, you know, accelerators and incubators in the region. When I have such a group of amazing talent, and this talent is not something that I can hire today, right? I don't have the money. I can't go hire those guys, but they are with me and they help me actually design my company. Until today, I do have such an advisory board. It changes over time because the company grows and your needs change. But if you go to the website, you know, our Fintech Galaxy website, you will see on my advisory board, I have one of the leading, you know, lawyers in Lebanon, and he helps me get all my policies and procedures together, gets all the commercial legal documentation. He helps me with all of that. Another chief digital officer, another, you know, very, very important, you know, member of the ex-Saudi regulator. So all these guys and ladies, they help startups. So this is a very important advice that I give. The second advice that I give is, don't be shy to actually go wild with your vision. If you want to think big, you gotta say the story. You're gonna tell the story. Don't keep it to yourself, because investors actually buy into the founder. They don't buy into the company. You still don't have a company. So if you raise funds, they're investing in you. So show them the real you. Show them what you have. Show them what you dream. Show them your vision. Even if it's crazy and wild, it's okay. Maybe one day you'll get that. And in terms of education, I mean, I did my bachelor's was English literature. It has nothing to do with financial services, nothing to do with technology. I mean, nothing, right? But then I did a lot of, you know, certificates, and I did financial journalism. Like I got trained by Reuters and Dow Jones and the Wall Street Journal. And then when I went to set up my company, I did an executive MBA in London, which actually taught me a lot. It brought me back to the core basics of corporate governance, of putting together a financial statement, of designing a business model. So if you are feeling less confident in certain areas, do something about it. You don't need to go have a crying party. That's my advice to all female entrepreneurs out there.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So I think we'll have one round of discussion, and let us take the questions from the audience. So I would ask, I mean, so far we are talking about women in leadership in fintech industry. So turning the tables around, so particularly, let's say, women target market when you are a consumer or something. So financial world is structured in such a way that for women who are still not considered the target market, despite making influence 80% of the influence, buying the household purchasing, I mean, decisions globally, like, we make 80% of the influencing market. So is building fintech solutions for women much needed in this context?
Well, definitely. Definitely. If you see, fintech is no longer a sector. It's actually the underlying infrastructure for anything in commerce. The whole economy is built on fintech, right? E-commerce is built on fintech. Buy now, pay later is built on fintech. Payments, fintech. Who buys stuff at home? Right? I mean, who buys stuff? Who buys furniture? Who buys grocery? A lot of the purchasing power, they used to call it the purchasing manpower. I call it purchasing power. It's actually run by women. So if a fintech wants to actually launch a new product, they need to actually listen to what women at home need. And of course, I mean, men, but we need to design products that cater for families. Let's call it this way, okay? Yes. Families, for kids. If you sit with a 15-year-old kid, you can come up with 2-3 products on the spot.
Yes.
Yeah,
I agree. Strongly agree with that.
They actually think in the future, and they are not troubled by the legacy mentality that we have. They just think very. Have you seen a 15-year-old or an 18-year-old or a 20-year-old go to a bank branch? They don't even know that it exists other than they see the logo on the street.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, yes. So, yes, Survi, would you like to add on this? I would like to get your insights. I mean, your point of view, your perspective on this.
Yes, definitely. The products that the fintechs are developing, it should cater to women, and it should be in a way that they can definitely use it, because I think they are the target audience. They are the larger audience. If not the target audience, they are the larger audience. And having built a product that does cater to their need and helps them use it easily, it would definitely be a great advantage.
Wonderful, ladies. So I have a few questions from the crowd. So yes, here you go. What advice would you give to the women starting in their careers in the industry right now? So it's an open question. So just one piece of advice who are starting to thinking about entering the industry. Just one piece of advice.
If I have one advice that other than the advices that I gave already on the advisory
Yes.
board, and if I want to say one thing, don't think money, don't think valuations. That's the worst thing that you will ever do. Think mission, vision, think impact. If you are driven by a purpose, if you want to make a difference in life, and why I'm saying this, because women are actually by nature, they are driven by empathy and compassion. So if you are actually pulling all the power that you have, this panel is about Wonder Woman, right? What gives a woman its wonders? It's actually the power, right? It's the power of emotion and empathy. So if you are driven by impact, and I'll tell you a very little story here. I'm Lebanese, and I've lived through all the civil war that happened in Lebanon, and I lost my house in 2006. And financial inclusion has always been a part of me. Why? Because when you are living in a war zone, getting access to physical places is not actually something that you take for granted. In so many times, in so many places, you don't even get to go outside the house, right? So having access to your money on your mobile is very, very crucial for us. And financial inclusion has always been, for me, something very important. And I feel digital banking and open finance actually can move the needle on this agenda in particular. And this drives me every time I go through the emotional roller coaster of, oh my God, I'm tired, I'm depleted. What am I doing here? I'm going to quit this. I'm going to go find a job. Why am I, you know, I don't even have the energy. Then I think, listen, you want to move the needle on financial inclusion, do more, yalla, more people are relying on you. The more I think about the impact that this company is going to make, that's when I get the energy. And that's when I go to investors, I have a different perspective. I feel different. When I pitch, I feel different. I don't think about, oh, I want to be a unicorn. And who cares? I mean, maybe event investors would care, definitely. But as a founder, this shouldn't be your end game.
Wonderful. I like the way you put it forth. Like, before you get in there, your vision must run faster ahead of you and be there so that people can understand what's the bridge and let's bridge it. Come on. So yes, Survi, would you like to add on this?
Yes, so one thing that I would like to add on is that one has like as a woman, we always have to stay focused and keep on upskilling ourselves. And once we are concentrate, like we are always adding the skill sets that's required, I think we can do wonders.
Wonderful. So I start with Surbi again. There's just one more question. So what's a leadership lesson that you've learned that's unique to being a female leader?
So I think the leadership's lesson that is unique to being a woman leader, I would say that uh, I think multitasking or being compassionate about whatever we are doing, that is something which definitely adds on to being a successful leader and being a women leader. I really feel that that skill set has really driven me.
Wonderful. So Myrna, there's one last question from from the audience. Why do I don't know why I end up asking the same kind of questions to you, but yes, when you speak about it, a lot of perspective comes out. So why do women have a harder time rising to C-level positions? Is it the lack of confidence or the vision? I mean, when you're talking about when you're inside a sector, like I think Surbi might be the right person to ask, post which I'll come to Myrna. So, what do you think is why do you think there's harder time for women rising up to C-level positions?
Well, I think it is harder. I mean, I don't see it very hard. Like the place where I am in right now, I don't see it as very difficult because, as I said, that the place where I am currently, like if out of 10, 5 are leading their departments. So CEO level, I would definitely not be the right person. I think Mirna would be the best to answer why it is difficult to go to the CEO level. But when it comes to leadership, I don't think it's at all difficult for women to reach there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What Surbi just said now is actually the biggest problem that we face as women. We always feel that we're not good enough to anything. And maybe you mentioned the CEO level. Other women might feel that a general manager is too good to be true for them. And some others feel that any position, actually, they have doubts that it's they're fit for the role. Whereas when you look at men, I mean, whenever I post a job, men who don't even belong to the industry, they put themselves forward for the job. I don't know if it's you know, like something related to the culture or maybe women in general. I still don't understand, honestly, even though I've read a lot about the subject, and I'm curious to know why men have more confidence in what they do, and sometimes they actually don't have anything that supports their case, whereas women do have a lot. But still, I think it's probably a cultural, traditional kind of something where we are brainwashed to feel and to talk and to believe that we're only meant to have babies and raise kids and prepare food for our family, which is okay. I mean, I'm not against the school of the woman playing the role of a woman. I do support that, and I do believe that a woman is a woman and a man is a man, and you should do your job, you should raise the kids, you should actually prepare whatever it takes at home. But then nothing prevents you from being a CEO who cooks food at home. Nobody said that you have to choose between being a CEO and having a family. We think that we are supposed to choose, but I think this is the first wrong step that we take, which is based on our fear of what people think and society. We tend to get to a T-junction where we have to choose either a CEO role or a family, whereas no, we can have both. It's not easy. I'm not saying it's a walk in the park, but then this perfect balance between life and work doesn't even exist. When we realize that actually it doesn't exist, one day I'm happy at home and I hate work. One day I just love work and I fight with my daughters all the time. Nobody said that I have to be a perfect, like easy flying parrot, just butterfly. No, I have my good days and bad days, and sometimes they're good here, they're bad here. So if you believe that you are a leader, and leadership has nothing to do with titles or positions, you can be a leader in your own little thing, and sometimes, by the way, the first follower is more important than the leader himself. When you actually believe in something, when you believe in yourself, you can do it. And by the way, I just want to answer the question that was mentioned before, the lessons. The most important lesson that I've learned in my life, and I think it applies to females and males, is humility, being humble. Always keep your feet on the ground and your head on your shoulders. The moment you feel you're too important and you're too big and you're too famous, that's when you fail. I've learned this as a journalist, and I've seen so many leaders go up the ladder and then fall down from grace without even blink. People lose jobs, they lose money, you can lose anything all the time. Your main asset is your value, your own human value. And if you lose that humility and you're no longer humble, and you start feeling you're above everybody, that's when you start failing. So my advice to everybody: there's no glory for entrepreneurship, male or female, it doesn't matter. It's a hard journey, and every time you get to the top of the mountain, you think, oh, finally I've got there. You find that this mountain is actually the smallest of all mountains, and there is plenty of other mountains to climb.
Exactly.
Good luck to everybody.
Wonderful, wonderful. So it has been like, I'm pretty sure the panel discussion was all about Wonder Women in FinTech, but I'm going to close the session saying that I am not saying anything about Wonder Women. It's just human beings and the mindset. It's more about the brains here and nothing about the gender. Wonderful talking to you both, beautiful ladies, and thank you for joining us today in FinTech Middle East Summit 2022. Thank you very much, and for all the insights. I'm pretty sure the audience who would have thought about climbing the ladder would have